royal culture shock. So, guys, you know that entering any organization, businesses, institution, the royal family, there sometimes will be a culture shock. More than not, it's going to be. So, of course, we're going to look at what happened when two women enter the royal family, what happened to both of them, and in particular, we're going to be talking about Meghan and Kate, two different women, two different parts. But yes, I was watching this program and they were talking about, just the different nuances or things that happen. And we know Meghan had a rough time, right? They can pretend all they want that, oh, in the beginning it was loving, hunky-dory, and we all loved her. That's a lie. We know that Harry had to put out that statement and he was very adamant that all of this undertone racism that was going on need to stop. He did not mince words. So now when they're trying to come and say, oh, Meghan had it good in the beginning, it was when she started doing this, which is ridiculous because Meghan is her own self. She obviously brought a lot to the table and she wanted to do a lot for UK, the royal family, and just definitely the wider public, right? Because her motto, she has always believed this, she's impactful, showing up, doing good. So we know that clash of culture, her being so outspoken, was very positive. It would look at it as very positive, a very independent-minded woman, a woman that knows what she wants. But it was clashing because we know we have lazy Kate, lazy William, and of course Meghan was showing them up. Not in her own, that wasn't her intention. Definitely, she wanted to hit the ground running and wanted to do things that they're telling her, Meghan, be half of yourself, 50% of yourself. Guess why? Because the other lazy ones were not doing anything. So yes, bigger culture shock, right?
The press was absolutely horrible to Kate on many occasions in her early career, but I think Meghan, learning through the filter of Harry, maybe naively felt things are different now. This is 2018, right? We are not going to do that trial by fire anymore. We've learned our lessons. So she may have had an expectation as an American coming into an institution that a lot of Americans, we know what the British royal family is, but we don't know the inner workings like Kate would have growing up in that culture. But also, yes, as a professional working woman who is used to being praised for using her voice, she had this humanitarian work under her belt as well as her acting career. I think it would have been an immense culture shock, even if she was intending to hit the ground running. You can't really downplay the fact that she would have been speaking a different language to the monarchy.
Although I think there were more moments and there were a lot of messages that were coming out, which were that they were very supportive of that different voice. They were very supportive of the idea of this being something very, very new and very different. And particularly in the context of the fact that I think for King Charles now, the idea of being able to specifically use Harry and Meghan as a bridge into the Commonwealth. This was an amazing opportunity for the royal family. That it's almost like William and Kate could kind of focus on back here, but suddenly you've got Harry and Meghan that could become the international outreach for the institution.
Yeah, and it's very tough because absolutely the monarchy wants to be a global brand in 2025. I mean, forget the Commonwealth. They make trips to America for a reason, right? They are sort of courting that international level of attention and understanding. But it's so tricky once you get into the discussions of Commonwealth and the monarchy's presence, you pull on that thread just a little bit and you suddenly get into conversations the monarchy doesn't want to have: colonialism, slavery, racial issues. And Meghan found herself in a very narrow position of, we want you to be refreshing, we want you to use your voice, but not like that, not in this way. And that's a tricky tightrope to watch.
Yeah. Particularly, I think, Lydia, there's a sense with Meghan that she's very empowered, that she knows who she is. She wants to get it done, but she kind of wants to get it done. With Kate, there's a much more pervading feeling of, okay, I'm going to see how this goes. I know where I want to get with it, but I am prepared to just do it a little bit more gently, a little bit more subtly. There's a marvelous, one of the things that the people always used to say about the late Queen was that she really understood the concept of soft power, the concept of walking into a room and saying nothing, doing nothing, just being there as the Queen. And I think a lot of people are beginning to notice this about Catherine, that this is exactly what she does. She's not a very talkative person. She's not a communicator in the way that Meghan is. But do you get that sense from her that she has an ability to be able to be quite patient with things?
So the British monarchy has always been about tradition, image, and silence. Yeah, they don't like their women speaking out. But in the modern era, it's also about global relevance. Within this environment, two women, Meghan Sussex, as we're going to call her now, and Kate Middleton, enter the royal fold in very different ways. Their stories highlight culture shock, different approaches to voice and duty, and the monarchy's uneasy attempts to reinvent itself as a global brand. It's easy to forget now, but the press was also brutal to Kate. Well, when I say brutal, let's be mild with that word, because yeah, they used to say she's Lady Katie, Duchess Doolittle. That has not changed. She's still Duchess Doolittle. They used to say, obviously, waited Katie because she waited so long for William to even propose to know what he wants, right? So that's on William. He's the one that didn't see her as a future and wanted her to go through the grind before he could say, yes, you're the one. I don't know what torture she had to go through to really determine that, yes, she was the one. But anyway, the media they came at her, obviously before Meghan, where they can have now a victor and a villain, because that's what the whole story is about, right? Long before she was Duchess of Cambridge, headlines mocked her background, questioned her suitability, because of course she's not blue blood. She didn't come from the upper echelons or the royalty in essence, never had the blood. She's a commoner in their words. And painted her as weighty Katie. She endured a relentless trial by fire. Because Kate grew up immersed in British culture, she had a deeper understanding of the monarchy's unspoken rules. She knew what it meant to stay quiet, to endure criticism, and to slowly shape her role through patience. Her strategy was subtle, built on silence and soft appearances. What some call soft power. Remember, she can do no wrong. Like the late Queen Elizabeth, Kate learned that sometimes just being present was enough. Then came the beautiful Meghan, right? Of course, her entry was like a fireball, right? Her entry into the monarchy in 2018 came with a very different perspective. As an American, she understood the brand of the royal family, but not its inner workings. Through Harry, she may have believed things had changed because, of course, we're talking about, his mom, what she went through, also Kate, Camilla to an extent, even though she definitely deserved her abuse because she had an extramarital affair, and we're not going to forget that either. Thinking she may have believed that things had changed, that the trial by fire was over, that lessons had been learned, right? Because they're saying they learned from what happened to Princess Diana, they would never let history repeat itself, blah, 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 all bogus, all ridiculous. And why wouldn't she think that? She was a professional woman with a successful acting career, recognized for her humanitarian work and praised for her ability to use her voice. To suddenly be told to quiet that voice, that was a shock. She entered with the intention to hit the ground running, but she was speaking a different language, one the monarchy wasn't ready to understand. At first, the institution seemed supportive of Meghan's different voice. For King Charles and the palace, Harry and Meghan were an enormous opportunity. They could be the bridge to the Commonwealth, the couple who carried the monarchy's image abroad, while William and Kate stayed focused on domestic duties. It fit the monarchy's ambition to be a global brand. Trips to America, tours across the world. It wasn't just about duty anymore. It was about international influence. But there was a catch. Because once you start talking about the Commonwealth, you inevitably invite conversations about colonialism, slavery, and racial injustice. And those are conversations the monarchy does not want to have.
You pull on that thread just a little bit, and you suddenly get into conversations the monarchy doesn't want to have: colonialism, slavery, racial issues.
And particularly in the context of the fact that I think for King Charles now, the idea of being able to specifically use Harry and Meghan as a bridge into the Commonwealth. This was an amazing opportunity for the royal family, that it's almost like William and Kate could kind of focus on back here, but suddenly you've got Harry and Meghan that could become the international outreach for the institution.
And that's, again, it's very tough, because absolutely the monarchy wants to be a global brand in 2025.
Meghan quickly found herself walking a very narrow tightrope. She was encouraged to be refreshing, to be modern, to bring something new, but not too new, not that voice. They didn't want to hear it after a while, right? They don't want Meghan to go out there and advocate and be empowered. No. Yes, we understand your different background, but Meghan, be quiet. Be silent, please. She was allowed to speak, but only within boundaries. She could advocate for kindness, but not for deeper structural change. And you know that Meghan is that girl that's saying, showing up and doing good. She's not into ribbon cutting. She wants to make a difference. She wants to be impactful. She could smile for the cameras, but not challenge the system that had silenced women before her. That contradiction, the desire for her global appeal without her full authenticity, created an impossible situation. The two approaches to women. Here lies the stark difference between Meghan and Kate. Meghan is empowered, direct, determined to get things done. Kate is cautious, patient, and subtle. Meghan speaks loudly and unapologetically. Kate wields silence as her weapon. Both approaches reveal different survival strategies within the monarchy. One woman tried to use her voice to modernize the institution. The other leaned into tradition, letting time and presence do the work. Neither approach is wrong, but they reflect two entirely different cultures colliding under one roof. And of course, we're not going to forget the jealousy. That was like the big part of it. The monarchy's challenge in 2025 is balancing these worlds: silence and speech, tradition and progress, domestic image and global brand. Meghan and Kate's experiences highlight just how fragile that balance is. In the end, the question remains: can the monarchy embrace change without silencing those who bring it? Or will it always protect the cage over the individual? And we talk about this cage over freedom. That is what we're saying, guys. Will it change? Will it try to do better? But that being said, I'm so happy that Meghan's voice is being told or heard how she wants it. She's more empowered than ever. She advocates for empowerment in women, and this was just a big culture shock. Big shock to her system. The very thing that she believed in, she could no longer do. And that is why this whole situation, it is best how it is. Harry and Meghan went and found their own path, and the royal continued to decline because they do not want to modernize. They will continue to be in free fall. So that's what I wanted to bring you guys. Sometimes you go into different arenas and you have to stay in there sometimes. Sometimes you have to move away from that arena and go and make your voice heard. Go and make a difference. Go and be impactful on the world. And that's what Meghan has done. So guys, that's what I wanted to bring you. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, turn on your notification bell so you never miss a beat. Bye.